All right, beautiful. Thank you for joining me for a restorative yoga class followed by optional 15 minutes of journaling. For this class, you will want a yoga mat or carpeted area, and then some pillows of different sizes. They don't need to be like fancy yoga bolsters or anything like that, but just some household pillows. And maybe a blanket as well if you'd like that. And then if you'd like to stay for journaling, a pen and paper of some sort for after class, but we will get to that later. So this is a floor-based class. In restorative yoga, we'll very slowly, gently move our body. For me, at least, restorative yoga is less about the physical benefits of yoga and more about like the emotional, psychological, spiritual benefits of yoga. So we'll gently move our bodies in ways that make us feel connected to our breath, that make us feel grounded, that help us feel relaxed, right? It's not about getting the deepest stretch of all time. It's just about enjoying your own company. So we're going to start in a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. You can sit crisscross applesauce or in Sukhasana, easy pose with one foot in front of the other. And start to sit up nice and tall. Maybe roll your shoulders forward a few times, backward a few times. Good. Then just relax your shoulders and take a nice slow breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Breathe in and breathe out. So throughout class, we'll use our breath to connect our mind to our body. So as you inhale, feel your chest rise. You're starting to use your brain to notice what's going on in your body. And as you exhale, feel your chest and shoulders fall. Inhale. As you inhale, feel your ribs gently expand with the breath in. As you exhale, feel your ribs gently contract with the breath out. On this inhale breath, notice what temperature of air is coming into your nostrils. As you exhale through your nose, notice what temperature of air is coming out of your nostrils. Maybe a little bit warmer, a reminder that we're alive and 90-something degrees inside. Take a slow inhale through your nose, intentionally slow. And an even slower exhale through your nose, no rush. When we inhale and exhale through the nose, and especially when we make our exhales a little extra long, we bring the body into a parasympathetic nervous system response, telling the body that there's no need to fight, flight, or freeze. So using our breath, we will both calm the mind, center the mind, and really get to know ourselves a little bit better. I closed my eyes for that breathing. If you did as well, you're welcome to open them. And then you can roll your shoulders forward a few more times, backward a few more times. We'll start with some gentle motions in the body and then hop into some longer held propped up restorative yoga postures. So you're going to start with your hands on either sides of your hips. I'm tinting my fingers for a little extra support, sitting up tall. Drop your shoulders, lift your chest, and we'll start by moving our neck spine. As you inhale, stretch the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Exhale through your nose, tilt your right ear towards right shoulder, stretching the left side neck. And it's worth noting that I'm not mirroring you, so it might look like I'm tilting my head to the left when in fact I'm tilting my head to the right. You're welcome to follow my words or my body movements. In class, I will do the right side of postures first, unless I forget, which occasionally happens. Slowly roll your head down, chin to chest, let your head hang heavy. And then roll your left ear towards left shoulder, stretching the left side neck. You might notice that this side feels different from the other side. It does for me. We're not symmetrical, and yoga really isn't about symmetry, right? Yoga is just about getting to know yourself a little bit better, but sometimes in that process, we do start to even out. Good. Slowly roll your head down, let your head hang heavy. Notice if you start to lean forward, hunch forward, or round forward, sit up nice and tall, roll your shoulders back down away from your ears, and then let your head drop. So it's just the neck spine moving at the beginning of class. Can you relax your jaw and let your head drop one more inch? Lovely. Slowly roll your head back up to center, look straight ahead. Now lift your nose and chin. Hey, Amanda's cat. Looking up and back, opening through the throat, gentle compression to the neck spine. Eyes open, look up and back, breathe. And slowly roll your head back, coming into a neutral position. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale through your nose, look over your right shoulder. Look for the wall behind you. So the spine moves in 6 different directions, right, left, backward, forward, twisting to each side. And we will do all of those multiple times in class today, just starting with the neck. Good, slowly unwind, come back to center. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over left shoulder. Eyes open, mouth closed. Sit up nice and tall so that you're not leaning back forward or to one side. Look back, breathe. Good, and slowly come back into a neutral position. We're going to do some seated cat-cows. Place your hands on your knees or thighs. I'm going to show you from the side. Take an inhale through your nose, stretch the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Exhale through your nose, pull your abdomen in and round your spine. Drop your head, relax your jaw. This is cat pose. You're rounding your spine like an angry cat, meow. On your next inhale breath, you're going to move into your cow pose. So press your chest forward, stick your butt out, roll your shoulders back and down, look up and back. On your next exhale, pull your abdomen in, round your spine, cat pose. So we're sliding the shoulder blade scapula apart, rounding the back, compressing the front. And when you're ready, inhale into your cow pose. Now we're stretching the front of the body, compressing the spine, squeeze shoulder blade scapula together as you move your hips back. Last round, exhale into your cat pose, connecting your breath with your body movements. And when you're ready, inhale into your cow pose. Make it feel good. Exhale into a neutral spine position, sitting up nice and tall. Good. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, starting to get a little bit more range of motion in the side torso and the shoulder. Place your right hand close behind you like a second spine. Reach your left arm up, getting range of motion on left side body. Place your left hand on right knee, right thigh. We're going to twist the whole spine. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, pull abdomen in, look over right shoulder twist. You can keep your hand close behind you for balance, or if you'd like, you can take it off the floor and see if you can touch your right fingertips to your left thigh for a little bit of a bind, a half bind. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look back, twist. Good. Slowly, carefully unwind. No rush. We'll do the other side. Reach your left arm up. Place your left hand close behind you. Reach your right arm up. And take right hand to left knee. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, look over left shoulder twist. I know, especially in the winter months and the cold months, even just like lifting one arm or twisting the spine a little bit can feel like a whole bunch. A little bit goes a long way, right? This is not the class where you need to get the deepest stretch of all time. Just some gentle movement to your body as you look back. Good, and slowly, carefully unwind, come into a neutral spine position, looking forward. Keep your left leg bent. You're going to kick your right leg out. Now we'll start to work into the legs as well. Good. Take your right hand outside of your right thigh and reach your left arm long overhead for a side body stretch. Lovely. Option to keep your hand on the floor outside of your thigh. Or if you'd like to come down more, you could even put your forearm on your thigh. From here, you can keep your left arm long or bend your left elbow and pat yourself on the back for practicing yoga today. Roll your left rib cage back a little bit, open through the chest. Beautiful. If your left arm is bent, straighten your left arm. If your right arm is bent, put right fingertips on floor, straighten your right arm. And then slowly come up to center, left hand down outside of your left hip. Let's do the other side. Bend your right leg in, left leg out. Keep left hand outside of left thigh and reach your right arm long overhead. Again, noticing how this side might feel different. Option to stay here or take left forearm to left thigh, coming down a little bit deeper. Try to keep your right hip and right knee on the floor. And if you'd like from here, you can bend your right elbow and pat yourself on the back for something else that you're proud of today. A little bit of moment of self-affirmation here. Good. If your right arm is bent, lengthen your right arm. If your left arm is bent, place your left hand back outside of the left thigh, straighten the left arm, and then slowly return your right hand down to the floor. Lovely. Keep your left leg kicked out. Bring your right leg out. The more you open the feet, the more you will feel an inner thigh stretch. Stick your butt out a little bit. Keep a nice flat back. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward with a flat back. Place your hands on the floor in front of you. Again, a little bit goes a long way. Roll the shoulders back and down. Keep your chest proud, neck long, eyes open, breathe. Good. Walk your hands back in towards your body. Slide your feet together. Now we're going to stretch the backs of the legs. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, stick your butt out, fold forward. Once again, folding with a flat back, shoulders back, neck long. Imagine there's a board strapped to your back. Take an inhale through your nose. And if it feels good on the exhale, come down a little bit deeper. Beautiful. Slowly walk your hands back in. That was our little warm up, just moving the spine in all the directions. And now we're going to hop into some restorative yoga postures using props. Again, you don't need fancy yoga bolsters, just some pillows and blankets of different sizes from your home. So we're going to start with a very supported child's pose, which I will walk you through. So a lot of times we do child's pose without any props, and that would look like knees and feet together, or knees a little bit apart for a wide-legged child's pose, with your arms forward and your forehead on the floor. This is not accessible to everyone, and it doesn't always feel great either. So I'm going to walk you through some different ways where we can use household blankets and pillows to make it a little bit more gentle and a little bit easier to hold for a longer period of time. To begin, if you have tight toes, ankles, or knees, you can roll up your mat or place a thin blanket underneath any delicate joint. If you have trouble sitting back on your heels, or you just don't want to today, place as many pillows as you'd like in between your thighs and your butt so that your hips are a little bit higher. And then from here, you are also welcome to place as many blankets or pillows on the floor in front of you so that you don't come down all the way. With the upper body, you can have your arms forward. Sometimes when I have a pillow under my chest, I like to bend my arms and just rest my head in my arms. You can also have your arms back in what's called fetal position. And we're going to hold here for a full 5 minutes, which I'm going to time. So if at any point in class you see me occasionally check my phone, it is not because I'm like texting someone, it's just because I'm checking our time. Okay. So again, there's many medical benefits or physical benefits to a child's pose. I'll go through them real quick. We're stretching out the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips. We're lengthening through our spine, including our neck and our shoulders. Right, and with the head a little bit lower than the hips, also just a gentle way to get some fresh blood and oxygen to the brain. On a more maybe metaphorical level or spiritual level, we're literally grounding ourselves into the floor. Sometimes in life, we can kind of go through our day feeling a little bit untethered or unsupported. And here you're really allowing the floor beneath you to hold you up. And in restorative yoga, we are also learning how to rely on props for support. So particularly in American culture, which is very individualistic, and particularly during a pandemic in which a lot of us had to rely on ourselves the whole time, right? It can be easy to forget how to ask for help or how to accept support. And for me, part of my restorative yoga practice is really just allowing, the floor, the pillows, the blankets to support me. And remembering that outside of yoga, it's also okay to be supported or to ask for help. So in yin yoga, which is, sometimes conflated with restorative yoga, I would talk a lot about how we're stretching muscles in the body, how we're stretching tendons, ligaments, fascia, right? That's really long-held postures that are focused on the physical benefits. In restorative yoga, to me at least, it's a little bit more like, how can I do a little bit less? How can I just sit with myself and breathe with my body? Can I maybe even take a nap while I'm in a yoga posture, right? And it doesn't have to be the deepest stretch of all time. It's more asking yourself, like, what, emotional, psychological, or spiritual benefits might I gain from holding still and breathing? We're going to hold here for another 2.5 minutes. We have a little over a minute left. Sometimes it's really easy to settle into a slow-paced yoga practice. Other times, especially towards the beginning of class, we might resist or fight it. If you find that it's difficult to sit still and breathe, remember that this is a practice. It's not about perfection. So if you notice yourself, fidgeting a lot, right, that's okay. You're just going to gently practice returning to your breath, returning to stillness. Take a slow inhale to your nose. Feel your ribs gently expand. And a slow exhale to your nose. Feel your ribs slowly contract. Gently lift your head to look forward. Walk your hands in a little bit so they're under your shoulders, and take your time pressing yourself up into a neutral spine position. There's no rush when we come in and out of these postures, especially when we've been holding them for a while. Take your time. You can set your pillows or blankets to the side. We're going to turn and lie on our back for our first Savasana of class. So lying on your back, I'll list some different options for your Savasana. You can lie with your arms and legs down. You can open your arms and legs as much as feels good. If it hurts to lie on your back with your legs straight, that is really normal. Couple options. You can bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor about hip width distance and let your knees rest together. This will take some pressure off of the lower lumbar spine. Or you can take a small pillow or blanket and place it under your lower back, and that will also give you some support. Feel your body start to mold to the floor, and let the floor hold you up. When we took that child's pose, even though it was, supported with props, so it might not feel as intense as without pillows. When we took that child's pose, right, we really stretched through the toes, the ankles, the knees, and hips. We stretched out the spine. Our hips were a little higher than our heads. We got a nice rush of blood to the brain. And now when we release out, right, the body can kind of regulate and normalize. You get a nice rush of blood from the head all the way down to the toes. This is our little reset button in between asanas. Bend your legs if they're not already, and gently roll off to one side. If you'd like, you can even give yourself a little bit of a hug on your side, which I always think is just a joyful thing to do. And then you're going to slowly press yourself up. Sit facing forward. I'm going to teach the right side of this posture first. We're going to do a side body stretch that then goes into a gentle spine twist. So for the side body stretch, if you're sitting forward, you're going to place 1 or 2 pillows to your right. From here, you're going to bend your legs and start to come onto your side. I like to have 1 and 2 pillows so that my right arm is long in front of me. You want a pillow for your head. You might even add an extra pillow for underneath your head so that you don't feel like your head is hanging off. You want to make sure that your neck is supported. Some other options, you can place a pillow in between your knees if that feels good. And then from here, you can either have your left arm bent, hand on the floor, or you can reach your left arm long overhead, which is more of a shoulder stretch. So the idea here is we're just gently stretching the left side body using these pillows, gently compressing the right side body. And if your arm is overhead, it's a nice shoulder opener as well. And we're going to hang here for 3 minutes. I'm going to offer some affirmations during each posture that you can repeat to yourself as something, to kind of center your brain. So our first affirmation is, I am my greatest teacher. I am my greatest teacher. When we take a yoga class, right, of course, we're following the direction of an instructor, but more importantly, we're following the instruction of our internal compass and really listening to what the body is telling us, right? So if you are in a shape that does not feel sustainable or does not feel good, make it right? You can add or remove a pillow. You can adjust how your arms or legs are. And then you're just going to make your way back into stillness, right? Practicing that stillness once you have found a comfortable position. I am my greatest teacher. You have an option to stay here getting a side body stretch, or you can take this posture into a gentle spine and abdomen twist. So if your left arm is draped overhead, you're going to slowly take your left hand outside of your left shoulder. If your right arm is underneath you, you're going to unthread that needle so that your right hand is outside of your right shoulder. Keep your legs stacked, so left hip on top of right hip, and you're just going to turn your abdomen towards the pillow so that your stomach comes down. What to do with the head and neck? A couple options. Some people take this into a full spine twist, and if the knees are pointing to the left, they will look to the right with the left ear on the mat or on the pillow. That has always been a little bit intense for me. You are welcome to have your forehead down if that feels comfortable, or I'm going to look to the left with my right ear on the mat. And we're going to hold here for 2 minutes. Back bends are really good for spine health, but so are spine twists, right? And this gentle spine and abdominal wall twist is also nice for digestion. If you're a side sleeper, it might feel somewhat familiar. Again, just as much as we talk about the physical benefits of yoga, you might wonder what this posture could reveal to you about what's going on in your heart today, how it feels to move your body slowly. Again, remembering you are your best teacher. Gently lift your head to lengthen through your neck spine. Walk your hands in under your shoulders and slowly press yourself up. Take your time. Great. We're going to do the other side of those postures. You are welcome to simply face the other direction. I'm going to switch where my where my pillows are so that I'm facing you the whole time. And also keep in mind that the left side might necessitate a different ratio of pillows, blankets, etc. We are not symmetrical. So again, sitting forward, you're going to stack one knee on top of the other, one hip on top of the other, slowly come down onto your left side. Take your left arm underneath you, facing forward. Option to have your right hand on the floor or pillow next to you, or reach it overhead for a shoulder stretch. And we're going to hold here for 3 minutes. So you might notice that the side feels different from the other side, right? You might know why, like an injury or a surgery or illness, or you might have had no idea until just now that right shoulder is kind of tight today. And both are good places to be, just getting to know yourself a little bit better. Sometimes, especially at the beginning of a yoga practice, I will question, should I be here? Is there something else I could have done with my time? But every single time by the end of class, I'm so glad that I came, right? Sometimes, again, even as a yoga teacher at the beginning of a class, I go, oh, maybe I should have done something else instead. But by the end, I'm so happy I came. I've never regretted taking a yoga class. So your affirmation for this side, if you would like, is I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. Option to stay here or take this into a spine abdomen twist. If your right arm is draped overhead, slowly place your right hand outside of your right shoulder. If your left arm is underneath you, you're going to unthread that needle, sliding the left arm out from under you, left hand towards left shoulder, and then keeping your hips stacked, rotate your chest down so that your abdomen and chest face the floor. Again, if you'd like a full spine twist, you could look to the left, away from your legs. You can have your forehead on your pillow, or you can look to the right with left ear on your mat. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. The Buddhist monk and activist Thich Nhat Hanh, who passed away yesterday, has a great, or passed away last month, not yesterday. Thich Nhat Hanh has a great bit about, if you're like washing dishes, but you're thinking about, sipping your coffee afterwards, then you're missing out on the joy of the present moment, even in mundane tasks like washing dishes, right? If you're thinking about what comes next, you miss out on the realization of like, wow, I'm really alive. And then he goes on to say, and I'll bet when you finally do sip your coffee, then you're thinking about what comes after that, right? So sometimes it can be tempting to say, well, of course, I'm not thinking about washing dishes because, dishes aren't fun. But then, well, of course, I'm not thinking about sipping my coffee because, I need to run this errand. And often that spills into our yoga practice as well, where we start to make grocery lists in our mind during a yoga practice, or we get a little anxious or wonder, what else we could be doing with this time. And this is just an invitation into the present moment to observe that thought pattern and then practice just enjoying the here and now. You are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. Notice how that changes your breath. See if you can soften into the posture just a little bit more. Gently lift your head to look forward so that your neck is long. Walk your hands in under your shoulders. Without rushing, just enjoying. Push your hands into the floor. Feel your body lift up. Great. You can remove your pillows, blankets, props, setting them to the side. And then turn and lie on your back into Savasana. And again, you can keep a pillow under your lower back. You can keep your knees bent with feet on the floor. You can open your arms and legs as much as you'd like. Right, really making this practice your own, again, with the knowledge that you are your greatest teacher and you are exactly where you are supposed to be right now. There's no one right way to do Savasana here, and there's not a wrong way either. Just allowing yourself to lie down in a way that feels enjoyable, maybe even meaningful for you. Bend your legs so that your feet are on the floor if they're not already. Slowly roll off to one side, maybe the side that you haven't rolled off to yet, if you remember. Place your hands on the floor and press yourself up. Next, we're going to take a very relaxing inclined spine posture. And to build this, you'll want some pillows of different sizes. The idea is you're going to create a pillow incline with your body so that your spine gets nice and long. So, and this can take a little bit of trial and error, just so you know, to get to the right pillow combo. But the idea is you're gonna sit back against your pillows and lie back. I have a couch, which I also find helps with the incline. Again, you might need to add or remove some pillows. Like I'm gonna grab another pillow. Thankfully, I have so many. You might also want a blanket to place over you. And make sure that you're sitting with your butt close to the pillows so that you really feel supported. From here, you can keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor and knees together. Or if you'd like, you can get a hip opener and open your knees out to the side. And for this hip opener, I'm also going to place some pillows underneath my knees so that I feel super supported. I'm naturally pretty flexible. My hips will open a lot, but for the sake of restorative yoga, I don't want the deepest hip opener of all time. I just want a gentle hip opener, right? That's why I have the pillows underneath me. And again, if you'd like, you can place a blanket over you and make this extra luxurious. And we're going to hold here for 6 minutes. So the idea here is we're gently stretching out our spine, and we're also very gently opening our hips, right? There's tons of like spine lengthening yoga postures, tons of hip opening postures, and some of them can be pretty intense. This is a great way to have your body start to form that muscle memory of like, what does it feel like for the hips to open? What does it feel like for the chest to lengthen, for the spine to lengthen, without, balancing on one leg or kneeling or, doing anything like that, right? It's intentionally supported. With your arms, you are welcome to have one hand over your heart, one hand over your abdomen. Maybe interlace your fingers on your abdomen, or even open your arms out to the side in a big expansive gesture. There's no run right answer there. Welcome to close your eyes. You can inhale through your nose and then exhale through your nose. And your affirmation for this posture is, my body is good. My body is good. Sometimes in more gentle forms of yoga, I find that I want to push myself harder. And that's a beautiful invitation to step back and examine where that urge comes from. Right? Sometimes when we don't think we're good enough, we think that if we can just stretch our body a little bit more, or strengthen our body a little bit more, or learn that one crazy, balancing posture that we've always wanted to do, then our bodies will be good enough, right? Then I will be worthy. And practicing intentionally gentle postures like this one is a reminder that you have nothing to prove. Your body is good exactly as it is. You are your greatest teacher. You are exactly where you are meant to be in this moment, and your body is good. We're going to keep the hip opener, so keep the knees apart. Slowly walk your hands in towards your hips and press yourself up so that your back is nice and flat. If you have a blanket over you're welcome to keep it on you, but I'm going to remove mine so that you can see. After that incline, we're going to do a much more brief forward fold. So keeping the hip opener, you can place as many blankets or pillows as you'd like in front of you, and you're just going to fold forward. Two options here. You can keep a nice flat back, so you stick your butt out a little bit, keep your neck long, or you can let your head relax. And we're going to hold here for 2 minutes as a nice little counter stretch. I am safe in this moment. There are many times in life where we don't feel safe. Sometimes for real reasons, sometimes our minds or our bodies play a little bit of tricks on us, right? And both are okay. But right here, can you just internalize that you are safe? If only for this breath, only for this moment, right? You are safe in this moment. And as you breathe, remembering that you'll also be safe in the next moment. As you inhale through your nose, feel the backs of your ribs open, stretching out your back. And as you exhale, see if you can just soften a little bit deeper. Relax. If your head is bowed, gently look forward, lift your chest, lengthening through the back. Place your hands on either sides of your knees or hips and slowly press yourself back up so that your spine is long. You can remove any pillows that you had in front of you as you folded forward. You can actually place your hands outside of your knees, thighs, and with the support and help of your hands, slowly bring your knees back together, feet on the floor. You can remove the pillows from underneath your knees if you had them there like I did. And then you're going to turn and lie on your back into Savasana. We tend to store some tension or emotion in the front of our body, especially in colder months when we're hunching forward to stay warm outside. So sometimes when we're in a hip opener or immediately after, you might feel a surge or a rush of an emotion, maybe a temperature change, right? Maybe your body starts to shake. These are all involuntary nervous system responses to opening and stretching out the nerves in our body, the parts of our body where we tend to be a little bit tight. So, if in a yoga pose, for example, you feel the urge to cry, there's nothing wrong with you. If nobody's told you this yet today, there's nothing wrong with you. Yoga offers us a really gentle and compassionate opportunity to turn towards our feelings and towards our truths rather than away from them. Bend your legs if they're not already. You can roll off to one side. Press yourself up for our last posture of the day. It's a very supported back bend. So you're going to take a moment sitting forward. And the idea here is you will want some pillows behind you. You're going to have one or two large pillows for underneath your middle back, and then one or two smaller pillows for underneath your heads. The idea is your heart will be the highest point in your body, but you're not letting your head drop all the way back, right? You're going to have support for your head and neck. And this can take a little bit of trial and error about figuring out the correct pillow ratio. And that's okay. You're going to sit facing away from your pillows and just gently roll onto your back. If the hip openers were really speaking to you, you're welcome to do another hip opener. I'm going to lie with my legs straight. You could also lie with your legs bent or even crisscross applesauce, right? So lots of options for the lower body. You can have your hands on your chest or abdomen, or you can open your arms in a big expansive gesture. And once again, if it feels good, you can place a blanket over your body because that always just feels so nice. Good, and we're going to hold here for 5 minutes. I am loved. I am loved. So with our affirmations throughout class, right, we started with the affirmation, I am my greatest teacher. Then we move to, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be in this moment. My body is good. I am safe. Now I am loved. You might have noticed a particular resistance to one of those affirmations, probably different for all of us. You might have noticed resistance to all of them. And this is just another opportunity for inquiry, right? To noticing why it is that you might not think that your body is good, why it is that you might think, I don't know, I'm really not a good teacher to myself, or, maybe I'm not meant to be here, maybe I'm not safe. Or lastly, if you're having trouble internalizing that you are loved, right? We are each so deeply loved. And heart openers, right, when we're literally stretching out our chest and opening the space where our heart lies, are really wonderful opportunities to embody, right, that you are loved, so deeply loved. In the same way that you might find it difficult to hold still or to balance, right? When we fall out of a posture, we hop back in. When we notice that we're fidgeting, we practice stillness. Same thing, if it's difficult to internalize how loved you are, just practice. Just practice telling yourself, I am loved. And let your heart space melt.
Feel an inhale through your nose, feel your chest lift. And then exhale through your nose, let your shoulders fall. There's many different variations of back bending in yoga, right? All really good for our spine, especially in a culture and in a season where we hunch forward a lot. But this one is so nice because sometimes when we back bend from standing or kneeling or balancing, it can feel a little untethered, right? Versus here, you got that gentle spinal compression and gentle heart opener without having to balance or to look back or anything. Again, this is just one small manageable step you can take towards getting into, other variations of back bends too. So in any style of yoga, if there's ever a movement or a posture that does not feel accessible to you, keep in mind that there's so many variations or other ways to get that same stretch or sensation in the body, right? Remember that you are your greatest teacher. We're going to slowly start to place our hands outside of our hips or our ribs. Gently press yourself up. Great. And remove any pillows that you'd like. If you'd like to keep a pillow under your head for final Savasana, you're welcome to. You can keep the blanket over you if you want. Open your arms and legs as much as you'd like. And take a deep, life-giving breath. In through your nose. And out through your nose. Again, and you might notice some sensations coming up as you come out of that back bend back into a spine neutral position. So just give yourself a moment of space for that. I often find that after a yoga practice, I am at my most compassionate, my most relaxed, honest, and creative. And sometimes I do something with that. And sometimes I just kind of forget that that's a superpower that you've given yourself, right? And I just go about my day. So once a month, we do journaling after class as an exercise to kind of harness all of that compassion and creativity and truth that you've given yourself. So you can literally write it out onto paper. In this class, I shared affirmations. In our journaling session today, it's going to be about intention setting. And sometimes when we set resolutions in the new year, right? Happy Lunar New Year. Sometimes when we set resolutions at the beginning of the year, we falter with them, or we really struggle with them, or they just no longer feel right to us. So in this journaling session, if you'd like to stay, we're going to go from, what intentions or resolutions can I set that are in line with affirmations that feel right to my body. So if the affirmation, for example, my body is good, really spoke to you, we'll think about, what kind of a resolution could you set for your month or your year that can help you remember that your body is good. If journaling is not your thing, but you want to stay and listen, you can also think of this as just a time for silent reflection or meditation. And of course, if your evening is calling you elsewhere, you are also welcome to, as you're ready, silently leave the Zoom room. Otherwise, you can take your time coming into a comfortable seated position. You can grab a blanket or pillow for you. You can grab a pen and paper, maybe even a sip of water. Okay. I used to start our journaling session by listing out gratitudes, but I've recently transitioned. I really believe in gratitude, and we will get to that in a moment. But sometimes it's also just helpful to acknowledge the state of the world, or how we're feeling in this moment. So we're going to start simply by listing out some acknowledgements, and that could be a simple fact like it is cold outside. Or it could be something that's just been weighing on your heart. Like I'm holding this resentment, or I'm worried about X, Y, and Z.
but we'll just start taking a minute just to acknowledge whatever it is that's on your heart or mind, or just to, ground yourself in some truths. Again, like it is February, it is a new month, or I am seated on my floor. Okay. Take a moment. And if any of these prompts really speak to you, remember that you can always come back to them as well. Next, we're going to simply write out in list form 20 things that you are grateful for. It can be people, places, things, experiences. And I love gratitude because, it's not toxic positivity. It's not trying to say like that everything is good and right in the world, but it is acknowledging that even on the hardest days, right, the sun is still rising, there's still flowers outside, or a beautiful sunset, or a dear friend, right? Every day, even in hard days, we want to acknowledge what doesn't feel great. But we also want to acknowledge the things that, like, gosh, right, there is still beauty in this world. It's writing 20 things you're grateful for. As you're wrapping that up, again, in class today, we talked about different affirmations like I am loved or I am safe. And now we're transitioning into talking about intentions or resolutions. Sometimes on January 1st, we might set a lofty resolution. And then maybe by February 1st, we realize that it's not really in line with our values, or it no longer seems reasonable. And I want to acknowledge, and I want you to internalize that you are a different person even from a month ago. So what do you know now that you didn't know on January 1st? What do you know now, especially about yourself, that you didn't know on January 1st? Acknowledging that you're actually in an even better place to set a resolution or intention, be it short-term or long-term, knowing what you know now. In yoga class, I shared some affirmations that were, I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. My body is good. I am loved. I am safe. I am my greatest teacher. If there is a particular affirmation there that spoke to you, or if you would like to create an affirmation either for the month of February or for the coming year, this is an opportunity to create that. It can be a phrase, a sentence, or even just a word, or what some people call a mantra. Again, it can be an affirmation I shared or something that is really speaking to you. Sometimes when we talk about resolutions, we want to put the resolution or intention first and the affirmation second. So for example, the resolution is, I will not eat sweets this year, with the intention that if I cut out sugar from my diet, I will now be worthy of love. Right, or my body will be good. But in this case, we're flipping it. So we're doing the affirmation first, and then we're going to find an intention or resolution that can help us dig into that affirmation and live into it. So using the affirmation, for example, I am exactly where I am supposed to be right now. What is an intention or resolution that you can set in place that will help remind you of that affirmation and that will help you grow with that information? This can be a small habit. Like if I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, it could be my resolution is to sit and drink tea by myself for 10 minutes every day, doing nothing but drinking tea, right? It can be a resolution like that, like a small habit, or it can be a larger thought pattern. As a reminder, there's things that you know now that you didn't know on January 1st, and this will be true every day, right? For the rest of your life, you'll always be processing new information. So even if you're setting a resolution now, it might be that 2 weeks from now with new information, right? You want to reset exactly what that intention is, but you're going to come back to that affirmation that you set, right? So that's the focus, and we're doing practices or habits that affirm what we know to be true or what makes us feel whole, rather than doing habits, practices in order to like somehow become whole, right? Because we're already whole as we are. What is one joyful practice that you can do? Again, it can be this month or this year. It could be buying flowers for yourself occasionally, or doing a silly dance in your living room. What is one joyful practice that you can live into? A lot of times our resolutions are centered around taking something away or depriving ourselves. And I want to remind you that intentions, resolutions can also be about adding something, not just subtracting something. So sometimes our resolutions are focused on things like, I'm not going to drink coffee this month. And then sometimes, we're focused on adding things like, I will drink more water this month. There's adding and subtracting, but there's also letting go, which is decidedly different from, depriving ourselves or not doing something. What is one thing that you can let go of? Could be this month, or it could be for the year, or whatever time period works for you. What is one thing that you can let go of? Could be a self-defeating thought pattern. Could be like a habit, right? But think about it less as depriving yourself and more about letting go. Come back to the affirmation that you wrote out earlier. Again, whether it was I am loved or my body is good or whatever affirmation you wrote for yourself. And then I want you to double check and make sure that the resolution or intention you set, the joyful practice you added, and the thing to let go of are all in line with that affirmation. And if they're not, you can just take a moment here to maybe tweak, again, not the affirmation, but the thing you're letting go of, the joyful practice, and the habit or resolution that you're adding. Putting pen to paper can be simply that, writing something down. It can also be deeply symbolic or meaningful if you want it to be. So with this piece of paper, right, you are welcome to write your affirmation on a Post-it card and put it on your mirror. You can write down your resolution, your joy, and the thing you're letting go of. You could also tear this up. If you have a fire safe way to burn it, you could burn it if that feels good. But remember that you can take this literal thing that you have and use it in any way that feels good or right or meaningful for you. Or you can just simply put your journal away and hopefully, sometime in the next year, you'll return to this and think, gosh, I know so much now that I didn't know when I wrote that out, right? That is my biggest joy and my biggest wish for all of us. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's always lovely to be here in community with you, and I hope to see you again very soon. Bye, friends.